and saw them and messaged me on
No.
on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, like I've
Oh,
been looking. I see that you're in South Africa, and I'm like standing over your clubs. Is there anything you want me to do with them?" I'm like, "Well, if you
oh,
would."
dawned on me early on when I started to work at golf courses that, no one has a linear day to day, right? It's not so you wake up, you do this, and this.
Yeah,
Every single pro's got something going on and working at managing and teaching and fitting and 2 facilities, 3 facilities, and all this kind of
yeah,
stuff. So
yeah,
you're
exactly.
rocking it, man. It's cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So the official welcome to Mr. Kevin Stinson, first in line in the handsome pool and as personable and as well liked as you can find in the association. How are you doing today in the sunshine?
Yeah, doing awesome. It's nice to be outside, so this is pretty cool. The rain is
Yeah,
gone and sun is here, so it's definitely golf season.
and there's always this buffer, right? So sun comes out and then the ground, then there's that like week or so that we need just the ground to dry out a little bit
But
so we
yeah,
don't
yeah.
mess everything up. What's on the tail for you? So for those that don't know and they look at a facility that you're at and they look at it and they go
Chim,
chi.
chim.
So all the listeners, let's set it to rest. How do you pronounce your facility?
So I say Shiam, like
Okay.
she, as in a girl, and then M, Shiam. That's how I've been told to say it. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but
Sure.
I say it really positively, and no one asks any questions. So that's how I go. Yeah,
Right. It's always funny. I get a kick out of it when either someone's either announcing you to the T or an award or something, and you can just watch them start to wheel and deal in their
oh, how do I
brain trying
say
to
this?
figure
How
out.
do I say this? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. So I'm always fascinated. When a person, I'll take myself for an example. I tell someone I'm a golf professional, and not the first question, but sometimes it becomes, "Oh, that's cool. Have I seen you on TV?" And then that's when I politely tell them that no, I'm very good at folding shirts and doing inventory. But you, on the other hand, are wildly talented and have had a pretty cool and varied background as a player. When I mean, it's an easy question to start with, but it's a great one to talk about the origin story, whether it was at a young age or maybe a little later, or you got better. What got you into and kept you into the game of golf?
Yeah, I got to give a lot of credit to my parents for sure and my grandparents. I think I know it started back when I was probably 4 or 5. My grandparents had a small family house on Sandy Point Golf Course, which is a very, very small 9-hole course just across the line in the States. And we would go down there on weekends, and it was fenced in. Um, so it was, and no, not many people out there. So I would go out with my 3 clubs in the cylinder tube bag with a spike on it that you could just stick in the ground, and it had a holder for 3 golf balls, and they would just let me go nuts, just go around and play as many holes as I could until I lost all my golf balls, and that was my introduction. There was no coaching. I'd play with either my parents or family, or by myself, and just went out and tried to figure it out, and that's how it got started. And then I never really got serious with it until I was about 16. So I always golfed. I was pretty good, um, but I hadn't played any tournaments other than like junior night at Mission Golf Course. That was my golf. But I was a soccer player full time. Like that's pretty elite level soccer player. Played on a couple different teams. That's what I thought I was going to go to college to do. And then a little bit of politics, and at 16 I flipped and I just went all into playing golf, and now I coach it and teach it and have had some fun doing it. So that's kind of the origin. That's where it started. Um, and it's just still a love. I just love doing it. I still love to compete and I love to coach it. So it's pretty cool to wake up and do the thing that you love every single day. It's pretty fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I love listening to the beginning to a good player's passion for it, but the more I talk to people about the beginning, the more they start to line up, and it almost always evolves back to enjoyment of the game, but just going out and playing until it was dark. Or, I always used to think of the golf course as the best babysitter I had growing up because I lived there. And even listening to Christine Wong talk, she said the exact same thing. And, didn't specifically have a coach. She just was a little better than everybody else and just kept having a good time with it and going out and playing. So, there's a pattern here. So do you find when you maybe are coaching juniors or kids that have been playing for a few years that you lean a little harder to the go out and play model of learning to play golf?
Uh, yes and no. I think skill development's really important. Like we need to have enough skill to go out and have fun. Like it wasn't much fun when I was
Yeah.
4 and I couldn't carry it over the creek and I
Yeah.
kept losing on my golf balls. So I would have loved for someone to teach me how to hit it up in the air and be able to get over the little water hazard on the third hole. So um, skill development I think is really big. But then once you have some skill, yeah, absolutely, you got to get out there and learn how to do it on the course versus learn how to do it on the driving range. And I think that's really really important.
So 16 years old, start to evolve into playing well. What was
I
your
don't know if it was
first?
well, but it would
Well,
be full
yeah,
time. It was
isn't that
yeah
a relative term?
yeah.
Like I man, I've settled into this thing whenever I talk to people about golf and I'm going into the world of 10, 15, 20 handicaps, trying to get better. And I said, I just want to give you a peek behind the curtain because if you one day wake up and you're a 5 handicap, it still feels the same. It still feels like your bad shots are bad and your good shots
Oh
are
yeah, yeah for sure.
a better version of bad. It just, from an outsider looking in, everything looks a little bit better, but internally you still have that
Oh
same measuring stick. I
yeah.
never could, uh, you know, get over the idea that there's this aha mode of like, oh, okay, well, I can just go fall out and shoot 68
Yeah, there was no light
and it
switch
feels
that you
great.
just flipped on. Yeah, it's a lifelong of learning. That's what Phil Jonas would always tell me. Golf's a lifelong journey. It's lifelong learning. So just keep trying to get better. And yeah, it's hard to do, but
So
it's so rewarding when it happens.
yeah, and I love that, and you kind of lead into my next question. I think if we've done marginally well in this industry, we've had mentors along the way. Who has mentored you along to be a golf professional in the PGA of BC?
So that's a good one. It's been a lot of different people. I think what stands out right away for just PGA BC and becoming an instructor and playing some of the events and stuff, I got the big push. I think it was Bryn Perry. He was like, I don't know why you don't come and play our events and why you don't start teaching. Like, you'd be perfect for it. Like, you should go and do it. So he was a big supporter of me early when I first got out of college. Like, it's like, you'd be dumb not to do this. Like, it's pretty funny. You still get to play and, you know, coaching pays pretty well. So and you have to do what you love. So, he was a big influence. Um, from a coaching standpoint, Brett Saunders, Scott Rogers out of Morgan Creek, they were with me when I was playing on tour. So a lot of my knowledge base comes from them. And then I think the biggest thing that stood out is Brett always told me, if you want to get good at something, you need to go and experience it. It's not just sitting in front of a computer and doing some sort of online seminar. Like if you want to learn, go and seek out the best people in the world and ask to shadow them and spend some time with them. So I got the opportunity through Martin Chuck down in Phoenix. He took me out to spend time with Sean Foley and Martin Hall. So I had 3 days with them and I learned a lot in those 3 days, getting to shadow their lessons. I was the video guy, so I stood there with an iPad and videoed lessons for them all day long. And just a lot of learning on how to identify and how to kind of learn how to be a coach, not just a lesson giver, but a coach. And I think so. It's been a lot of people. And the list goes on and on. I probably left a few people out, but uh, there's a lot of great people in the PGA BC that I've leaned on, and then there's a lot of just Canadians worldwide that are happy to reach out and help, which is pretty cool. Uh, to get to shadow someone who's coached the best player in the world and get to spend a full day with them, and they hand you their cell phone number afterwards and say, hey, if you need anything, please reach out. Like I think that's a Canadian thing. I think that's what Canadians would do. They want to support young developing coaches, and that's been pretty cool to have those kind of resources to fall back on.
Spot on. I agree with you wholeheartedly in that, the, we know golf at a different level than a few other industries, and the support, whether it's in coaching or management or just anything. I mean, we're so philanthropic with our time, and then to be on the receiving end of it is it's pretty cool. So talk to me about playing and teaching golf and coaching golf more specifically
Yeah.
in Texas.
Oh, in Texas. Yeah. I was kind of thrown into the fire. I had 2 courses to graduate, and I was done with my playing career on the college team. So I'm like, okay, well, do I do it online? Do I pay for it myself? Like, my scholarship's done. So what do I do? And the coach came to me. He's like, hey, we're losing our women's program coach. And they had what they call an OPT. So it was a visa that let you work in the States for a year after university. So I applied for that and got it. And then the university ended up paying for my last 2 courses, plus a small salary to take over as women's coach at Wayland Baptist University. So I had not much experience, as in zero, other than just being around the team as a player. And I was thrown into the fire, and we did okay. We only had 4 girls on the team. It was a third-year program, so there wasn't much momentum to the program yet on the ladies' side. But we had a couple of really good players. We had one of the best players in the country was from France and on the team, and yeah, I learned a lot from that, because coaching females is different than coaching males, especially in college golf. You have to be a little bit more sensitive, and my sensitivity maybe wasn't the best at the start, but I had to learn quickly. But I had a blast. It was fun. I missed playing, but it was kind of what sparked my interest in coaching later on, was having that early college experience of having to manage a team and coach a team, and book the travel, book the tournaments, book the rental cars, all that extra stuff that a lot of people don't think of.
So you've had, in your own right, you've had a very successful competitive career, and one of the challenges going back to being Canadian and uh, and talking about things, and sometimes we have challenges talking about ourselves, but I'll push you into it wholeheartedly to say, looking back at your competitive career, I mean, there's a lot, and it's still going. What are some of the most memorable moments that stand out to you when you look back at some of the events you played in, and maybe they're baked into the victories, or maybe they're not, but it's a cool journey to explore. And what comes to mind when you think about
Yeah,
some of
so
the successes?
if we go way back to high school days when I first started really jumping into golf, uh, James Lepp was the guy
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Abbotsford, and I was a member at
yes, he
Ledgeview
was.
Golf Course, and we all looked up to James. And I remember playing BC Amateur over on the island at Gorgevale, and James Allenby and James Lepp were about to tee off, and me and my best friend Jared were like, "Should we go ask to play with him?" And we were nervous, like we didn't. So we did. We walked up, and they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna go play the back nine." So we went and played the back nine. It was one of my most nervous swings. I can still remember it. Par three on the back, totally missed the green, almost put it out of bounds. And I was just like, but it was like, we looked up to those guys, and then seeing James win NCAA's, to see him get starts on PGA Tour events, to see him win on the Canadian Tour and do some pretty cool stuff that was never on the radar for any of us growing up. Like, we never thought that was something we could do. To see someone local go and do that, and then to have Nick follow and have Adam follow and to make the PGA Tour, I think that's what really got us Valley guys going and have some momentum. Like, we had quite a few guys go and play the Canadian Tour, and some guys had some wins and some success. But I think it all goes back to James kind of being that torchbearer, kind of leading the way for us out of Ledgeview and knowing that that's something that we could actually do, which was pretty cool to see someone do that the first time was pretty special.
And you look at that lens, and it is a part of it that, people will navigate and look to you in that light in some regards. And it's pretty full circle and pretty cool about our industry. I took it while you were talking about James. I hadn't thought of him in 100 years, but
Yeah,
man, as soon as you said it, was just flashback into like,
yeah,
I grew up on the island, and I was like just in awe of this person. And so the Google feedback I get, the first word that comes after his name when I was typing it out was entrepreneur.
yeah, yeah.
Isn't that something? But just maybe a bigger call out to, his involvement with now I'm reading as I talk, but with Kicker and some of these other, I mean, he was known for a
Entrepreneur
few
of the
key.
saucer pass that went
That's
viral,
right. That's right.
right?
That's
Yeah.
right. Well, I mean, he was, borderline ahead of his time
Oh,
in
if he
some
came out
ways.
now, YouTube, he'd go.
Yeah,
You should, James, if you're watching, you should. Let's go. Let's start a YouTube channel.
there it is.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that'd be awesome. So I love this question, and it's pretty relatable to amateurs when they hit up the first tee. Does Kevin Stinson get the first tee jitters?
100% every time.
Isn't that
Like
wild?
even like we played last week G&G tour event. I was nervous on the first tee. Hit a drive that was in play, but it was maybe 5 out of 10. Like and it was all nerves. Like you just feel it. But like that's why we play. Can you hit a good shot when you're nervous? That's part of it. So uh,
There's
stop
there's
trying to
this.
avoid it and just accept it because everybody's nervous. That's
Well,
just part of it.
but that's the
Yeah,
exposure, right? So cool. You trying to pull off this shot, people are watching, one person, 100 people. It's irrelevant. We know to be patient when we play golf, but you know, you got to pull in the fairway on the first hole. So it's a very assumed instance that good players or people that play a long time just step up there, ham and egg it, and keep on going. But it's
I think
definitely
we're
not the
just better at
case.
hiding it. It doesn't doesn't show outward as much with more experienced players, but it's definitely still in there.
That's right. So off the golf course, we're playing a lot, we're parenting a lot, we're managing a lot, we're juggling everything. You get an afternoon and your phone's put away. What are you going to go do?
Hang out with my son. Yeah. Actually, I got it's called the Kid Caddy, so it hooks onto his stroller. We haven't tried it out yet, but you set your golf clubs up on his stroller. So we're gonna try it pretty soon, and we're gonna go and try and see if we can get 9 holes in at the local club with me pushing William down the fairway with my clubs on there. Um, we took him to a par three in Phoenix in January, and he loved it. So we're gonna see if he can make it 9 holes. If we have an afternoon off, will be pretty special. But yeah, we just hang out. We just like he loves driving his little car and playing with toys, and it kind of changes everything once you have your kids and your priorities change. If you would have asked me last year, it would have been, hey, let's go play golf somewhere. But now it's, hey, let's get home and see the kids. So uh, that's for sure what it would be.
Spectacular. It's a funny thing because people, whether they have kids or not, they you look at it and you say, wow, okay, well the golf game's got to decline because you got to give up the practice time or whatever. But I also think it gives you an extra layer of accountability to
Okay.
not right because you're trying to be the best version of yourself for them holistically. But in a golf game, you're like, you know what? Now I've got this extra layer of like this world is a lot bigger than this 6 foot putt,
For sure. Yeah.
right? And so it
Yeah.
almost makes it a little bit more manageable.
Yeah. It just puts everything in perspective too. Like, like Rory just came out and said once he could separate golf and life, like he started playing better because it didn't matter what he shot. He's still just Rory when he comes home. And kids do that right away. Like, I have a bad round, I come home, pick up my son. I don't even think about that round anymore. So it's that kind of frees you up a bit. And then I think the big thing is when I do get to practice, it just makes me be more efficient. Like I don't have hours to waste anymore. Like if you have half an hour, let's try and get better at something because That's the only half hour you have. So be efficient with what you're doing. And that's helped my coaching too. Just be a little bit more efficient with how you're helping people. Make sure they get better at one thing instead of trying to like, hey, here's your golf swing, what we need to fix. No, like let's be efficient at this. Let's pick off one thing at a time to get better at. And then by the end of the year, you're a better golfer. So um, I think that's super important in life and in coaching. So
That leads into my next, the one I wanted to pick your brain about was, as a good player, how that influences your coaching and teaching. But furthermore to that, I mean, you led into it a little bit. How, yeah, I mean, it's external influences. How does being a parent influence you as an
mm,
instructor? You know, it obviously does, but when you are with a new student or you know, you're running your programs, how does your golf background influence your style or approach?
yeah, so I get the question all the time, like, is working with crappy golfers, does that like affect your game negatively? And I'm like, no, not really, because
Not even a little.
I separate the two. Like the things I'm working on, I'm not trying to teach to someone who's just getting started in golf because they're not there. Like they need just to learn how to get the ball in the middle of base and airborne. Like that's goal number one for somebody. So but what's nice of having a good background is you've kind of gone through all of the stages yourself. So you have to go back and remind yourself when you were that client's age or skill level, what was the next step to get to where they're trying to get to, not to where I'm trying to get to, but what they're looking for, and how do you do that? And with experience, I think you can get there a little bit faster. Start working on maybe one thing that fixes a couple different swing flaws, which is, if you can be more efficient in how you coach, you gain the client's trust very quickly because you're not trying this and then it doesn't work and try that and it doesn't work. You can identify and get to the root of their problem way more quickly having that background and some experiences. So I think that's what I would take from it. Um, Playing and coaching, they're two very different hats that I try and juggle and put on. When I'm playing, I'm not worried about my coaching, and when I'm coaching, I'm not worried about my playing. I'm just trying to do the best that I can and with whatever hat I have on.
Cool. So you're going on a golf trip and the airline says, listen, you can only take one club and you're going to have to use clubs when you get to where you're going. What's the one bat you get to take out?
Putter for sure, because mine's 37 inches in arm lock and center shafted, so you're not finding that in a rental bin.
You're not pulling that in the rental when you get there.
No. And that actually goes back to South Africa. My clubs never showed.
Really?
Yeah, so I played with a set that was put together. I was with Titleist at the time, and they put a set of extra steps together that were not in my spec whatsoever. And I got them the morning of the first round, and we were teeing off in partners, and Gord Burns is my partner. I said, Gordy, I'm going to be riding you all day long on your back because I have no idea what these clubs do. And it actually worked out okay. I played pretty good that week. So you just have to adapt, and you just have to, but like putter's your best friend. You gotta have your putter with you because
I'm
that's the
it's
moneymaker for sure.
yeah, and it's the one with the personality too. So you don't want to upset it when you come back
No.
either, right? So it's a good answer.
Yeah.
So the clubs didn't show. Did they disappear? Like, did they ever come, or they're just gone?
They were in Toronto. They never made. I flew from Vancouver to Toronto, Toronto to Atlanta, Atlanta, Johannesburg, and they never left. Actually, PGA Pro um, was in Toronto and saw them and messaged me on
No.
um, on Instagram. He's like, "Hey, like I've
Oh,
been looking. I see that you're in South Africa, and I'm like standing over your clubs. Is there anything you want me to do with them?" I'm like, "Well,
oh man.
if you would take them up to the Air Canada counter and like maybe they'll get here by the last round or something." And they showed up the day we left. So we went to the airport for our flight, and I walked down the baggage, picked up my bag that was never opened, pulled it
Just
upstairs, paid 120 euros to send it back home, and never even opened it. So it was yeah, it was an interesting week for luckily Team Canada had brought our clothes there. They didn't ship our clothes to us first. So all my clothes and shoes and everything were there, but I just didn't have any sticks or balls or anything. So,
Wow.
um, yeah, it was an interesting week, but I ended
I
up,
rem
I played well the third day, or no, the second day. And they're like, Kev, you're playing anchor tomorrow. And even if your clubs show up, you're using the ones you've been using because you're playing okay
Sure.
with them. So I
Yeah.
played in the final group against South Africa, Australia, and New Zealand against their number one guys. And I was, yeah, using rental clubs and held in there, did okay. But it was like a little bit stressful. What was nice was the boys in front all swept their matches. So by the time I got to hole 16, I knew we had already won the cup and then it was over. So it was a little less stress then.
Jeez.
But yeah,
I re
it was it was a fun week. A lot of memories for sure.
I didn't know that. I mean, cool experience to be going out anchor and have it sewed up for you to even just bask in the moment a little bit more. I
Yeah. Yeah.
couldn't
Once I
imagine.
knew it was like I could just exhale and be like, all right, let's just enjoy this. And it was because the 16th hole was like water down the left, tough par three, funky greens, like, and then 18 was pretty tough uphill hole. And it was like you didn't want to have the
Sure.
cup coming down to those
Right.
holes with a guy with rental clubs in his bag. So
Yeah.
I was pretty happy that it was done by the time I got there.
Oh man, that's so cool. So Potter's going with you on the trip. What would be something that people that have known you for a while, play with you, what's something they don't know about you, Kevin Stinson?
Oof. I'm a pretty open book. Most people know most things. I would say a lot of people don't know that I was into water sports as a kid. So like
Oh,
barefooting, water ski jumping, slalom skiing, all that kind of stuff. Tubing for sure. I grew up doing a lot of that, which I think gave me some pretty good forearm strength and muscles. So maybe that's why I can hit out of the rough pretty good. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I don't do that much anymore because it does hurt when you're finished. So um, now golf's a little bit more important. But that was my growing up. It was lots of soccer, lots of water sports, and then golf for fun when I wasn't doing those things.
the importance of something else going on as a junior golfer is pretty key. I think if you talk to anybody, and they don't even have to be a good golfer, just if they played a lot of golf as a kid, there had to be something else going on, whether it was a team sport or, like you say, water sport. I think that's one thing that I hope we communicate as, ambassadors to the sport, that it's the
Yeah,
other sports that can influence it. It's almost like making you like a bit of a different golfer based on what it is, whether it's your endurance because of soccer or
for sure.
forearm
Yeah.
strength, right? Like I think that could be equally as important. And then being able to, work it into your golf game. But I don't know about you, but I often, if someone is coming to me for a golf lesson and we're at, you know, 10% of the way into it, I'm immediately picking their brains with other sports they played growing
Yeah.
up,
What
what
did you
else they
play?
do.
Like, how did
100%.
you? Yeah, you move pretty good. Like, you got some speed. What sports did you play growing up? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And it is kind of, the odd time. I mean, it's a cool ability to be able to call out someone without them telling you, be like,
Mm.
oh, that's
You play
cool.
baseball,
Hey,
don't you?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You're
That's
over
right.
the top and you slice it. You must have played baseball growing up.
How did you know? Well, just a hunch.
Hunched. Yeah.
Uh, favorite golf course in BC? Sub question: favorite golf course not in BC?
Okay. We talking like sentimental value or like
Yeah, I think that
layout
tends to
and
be.
favorite course?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I mean, layout and favorite courses is lovely, but I think more of a nostalgic vibe. Like what you're out for, an evening round. Kids are a little bit older, and you're gonna play a back nine or a front nine. What course are you playing?
It's usually just nine because it's gonna be Mission Golf and Country. That's where
Cool.
I first started playing. It's like the hidden gem of Mitcham. awesome 9-hole track. And then secondary would be Ledgeview, just all the memories growing up there in high school and being able to play with my buddies who are now on the PGA Tour. We have so many memories up there. And it's such a cool design for a shorter course. It's like super tough. So it's it's quirky in a really good way. It's kind of everything you would want to learn how to play the game, all the different lies and undulations and tricky greens and all that kind of stuff. So that's always a treat. Anytime I get to go up there, it's fantastic. So a little bit biased, but that's where all my memories are. So those are
It's a
my
good
two for
reason.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you're going on a plane, where are you going to go play?
I would say Bandon. Bandon's for a golf experience and for how the quality of their courses on one property. That's
Wild, isn't it?
very hard to beat. It's pretty spectacular.
I think completely underrated to that experience is that when you're there, you're there. There's no, let's go into town and have this
No,
dinner.
because
Let's go over
there
here.
isn't town.
You're
There's
there.
nothing.
That's
It's
it.
just that's it. You're there to golf, and
Yeah.
it's gonna be incredible, regardless if it's 10 degrees and raining or if it's 20 and sunny. You're still gonna enjoy it. So it's golf at its purest for me.
I couldn't agree more. I think I would say something very similar, because when you're there, and I haven't been for a bunch of years, and I know they've unveiled some new tracks, but you wake up in the morning and you get what you get from a weather standpoint, but then the courses are going to stand up. The third hole at Old Mac is one of my favorite holes all time, just with the dead tree, the hit over, the undulations up near the green are just out of
We
control. I
luckily
can't
had a
wait to get
poor
back
caddy
there.
for that one because I stood on the tee and I was
No doubt.
pointing the wrong direction. I didn't even know where to go, and he's like, "No, little draw just over the corner of the tree, and you'll be right by the green." I'm like, "Really?" Like, okay. He was
Yeah,
right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Have you ever spent some time caddying full time?
No, I've spotted in a few times.
Yeah.
So like Adam needed someone for Q school one year, and I did the first 2 stages with him. My buddy over in Korea, Sunho Lee, I've done PGA Q school for him. A little bit here and there, but when I was on Mackenzie tour and missed the cut, you'd always jump on someone's bag for the weekend.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, I've done enough. It's a lot of fun because you get the other perspective, and I think you learn a lot caddying, which is fun. But I'd way rather be playing, that's for sure.
And I always found, and listen, I've caddied for people a lot better than me and a lot worse than me, but there's always this moment where they're stood over a shot and you just want to grab the club out of their hands. Not because they're going to do it poorly. It's just, you're like, oh my goodness, I could do this. So do you have any good, and as a former colleague of the iconic Jerry Hadwin, do you have
Okay.
any good Jerry stories?
With Jerry. Not that I could share. No, Jerry was actually when he was at Northview, Jerry introduced me to Brett Saunders and Mike Sorgel, who kind of got my golf started. That's where I first started getting lessons, and they kind of took me under their wing and was like, "Hey, like if you work hard at this, you can catch up and you can do something with it." Like they were always super positive. Um, but every time I see Jerry, like I've got a pretty good bond with Adam from growing up, and he's always kind. Uh, when he was at Ledgeview, he would let us sneak out and play when we weren't supposed to. He would just be like, "Boys, just go off the back nine and just go. Like, don't worry about it." Because he got it. He knew. For one, he knew his son was going to be great, and he knew he wanted to support local golf, and that's what he did. And so like as many stories as there is about Jerry, like he's somewhere I'll always be grateful for because he just gets it. He knows what's going on, and he knew the golf scene, and he was always about player development, which was really cool.
And you get to see firsthand where, and I do ask that question lovingly because I think he's one of the, he's the glue. He's in some ways the glue of an industry because of his. It's almost just his presence and how he carries himself and what he's passionate about that clearly influences not only Adam's game but everybody else that's kind of come through Ledgeview or that.
Yeah.
Just the valley in general, right?
I got a good story I can share.
Okay, here we go.
So we're all playing Valley Golf Center. So Valley is like one of the very smaller driving range, 9-hole par three tracks in Abbotsford. And it's not known for pristine conditions, but Jerry's so competitive. He's like, we have 2 holes to play. He's like, Stints. He's like, if I birdie, I forget what the bet was, but he's like $10, $10 if I birdie last 2. And he hasn't sniffed a birdie all day. Like he's all over the place. So first hole, it's like little par four, but it's short. And he's like, but he messed it up. He made bogey. So we got 1 hole left, and he airmailed the green. And I'm like, this is over. But like anybody who knows Jerry, he's always got a chip in his back pocket. And sure enough, he chipped it. And I don't even know if it was a good chip, but it went dead center, hit the flag, and went straight down. And he's like, see, Stance, see, I told you. I told you I had a birdie. I always get at least one. And I was like, I'm never betting Jerry had one again because I just know he's not going to lose. And
Pretty much.
yeah, I'll always remember that one. So yeah,
Yeah, that is spectacularly accurate to
yeah.
the Jerry Hadwin experience. We were in Mexico on the trip a million years ago, but it was 2011. It was the first game the Bruins and the Canucks played after the Cup
The
final.
Bruins and Hadwin.
I know.
Oh.
And so we're in this whatever lounge bar in Mexico. And it's as soon as I heard you tell that story, see, Stints, I told it was the whole game. It was like that. You see, boys, this is what I told you. The Bruins got it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, not
Scar
everybody.
tissue. Thanks for pulling off that Band-Aid. Yeah. Awesome.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you think is the direction of tour golf? And I'm not talking live. And I guess where I'm going with this question is, the PGA Tour, live, TGL, it's become very varied. And I think I look at something like that what isn't necessarily better than the other thing. It's just now showcasing how the appetite for the sport has changed. What do you like about how golf is presented to the average golfer?
What I think the most important thing is that, especially the PGA Tour now, they've identified that they can't just keep putting out the same product anymore. Like we have to embrace like the YouTube golf scene and TGL and some different markets, which may not suit everybody. But I don't think those avenues are for everybody. I think they're for niche markets that are very important. So like, I totally get it if you don't like TGL, but like, I like to watch it. And there's other people that only want to watch that because the action is right in front of them. And they see every shot and it's different. And that's what they're into. So it's not that one avenue is bad or good, or it's that they figured out that they needed to diversify because there's different avenues in the golf industry and there's enough need in those avenues that we can't just put out the same product. And I think the biggest thing now is so like working at Sheehan, it's not a traditional market. Like we're a $28 golf course that's executive length with a pretty nice driving range. So people they'll show up for a lesson in t-shirt and gym shorts. Like that's totally normal. Where a golf purist would be like how are you working with that person? Like they're not in a collared shirt and their shirt's not tucked in. Well, like he just loves golf differently than you do. And it's not that it's right, and it's not that it's wrong. I come to Morgan Creek and it's a little bit different. I dress up a little bit nicer because the clientele is more traditional, but it's just changing and it's being able to be adaptable, which I think is what the tour has noticed. And I think as PGA professionals, we have to notice that too. Is that it's not just traditional golf anymore. There's a lot of different avenues and we can take advantage of that. Like online coaching for us has gone through the roof. Like there's so many guys that are just doing online now. It's not just come in, do your 8 lessons and go home anymore. Like there's more to coaching than that. So, I think that's what's cool about our game is that if we can identify that and we can work with the trends of golf, we can, you know, really stay relevant forever, I think, because it's such a fun game and it's highly addictive and everybody seems to want to get into it now. And, um, you know, that's why I love it. And that's why I think a lot of people gravitate towards it.
You go to a restaurant and they have more than 3 items on the menu,
Absolutely. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Very good way of
And
describing it.
and the better we get at figuring out, or how about this? The better we get at knowing it's the consumer that tells us what they are looking for and giving them, a way to
Absolutely.
consume that, the better we're all going to be. And that's not to say that, listen, filet mignon and no cell phones at Shaughnessy and all the good things, I am 100% in for. I'm also in for a evening 9 in flip-flops at Ardmore Golf Club.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's everything, right? And that's, I think, the more we put that in our back pocket, the better we'll be as professionals in an industry, and
Yeah.
it's heading that way. So,
Yeah. It's good. I think it's all positive
yep.
from, yeah, from that standpoint.
Well, Mr. Stinson, we've covered off everything except your favorite color. I I've really valued chatting with you. I mean, it's a funny thing that in an industry of close friends and a cool network, I, I personally don't always get to chat with some of the people I always want to, and this has been a true pleasure getting to know you a little better, and I'm excited to put this particular episode out.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It's been fun.